Hey everybody, it is the Angry Honey Badger, and what we're going to do right now is Badger's Picks. We're going to see who's free this week and which 4 champions I'm going to recommend. Free this week, we will have Braum, Corky, Kale, Kennen, Khazix, LeBlanc, Malzahar, Morgana, Rengar, and Vayne. For my first recommendation for the week, going to give that one over to LeBlanc. LeBlanc's been in a decent state for a while now. I know that we had the removal of DFG, and we had... what else did we have? She had her silence removed at one point, and that seemed like the downfall of LeBlanc, but she's still pretty darn strong. I think she still does quite well. The only thing really being a problem for her currently is just the tanky meta, but once again, I think we're seeing people stray away from it a little bit, to be honest. She does a great job of just assassinating people on the back line and being quite tricky while doing it, if you're pretty good. So if you're looking for a new champion to try out and you've never played LeBlanc, try her out. My next recommendation for this week is a champion I've been enjoying a little bit more lately, which is Morgana. I still think she's going to be a top tier support for a very long time because of the black shield, and the binds are pretty good too. She's just a really, really good support overall, and she does bring a handful of damage. Some of my favorite AD carries to play with her are like Sivir, super fun. Sivir's ultimate and your bindings and your engagement with your ultimate are kind of a fun wombo combo, so if you're looking for a combination deal and a fun support, you might want to try out Morgana. My next recommendation is going to be for Kale. Now, Kale probably doesn't see as much gameplay as a lot of other champions, but I still think Kale's in a very strong position. I still think Jungle Kale's fine as well. I made a video about it earlier in the season. I'm a big fan. It's still really fun to play too. Kale doesn't get as much respect as I would hope either, and she can kind of be clutch now too with a lot of these hyper carry ADCs coming back into play to take out tanks. She can keep them alive with her intervention, so I think she's a pretty smart play. She does a good job of cutting through people's defense too, so you might want to try Kale out. And as for my final recommendation, I'm going to go ahead and throw it over to Khazix. Now, Khazix, I think struggled a little bit with the jungle earlier on in the season. He did receive a little bit of a buff recently, helping him out with getting some health back on his W, which I think has helped him out in the jungle a little bit. I also do really like the full penetration build on Khazix, where you jump in and you just have like every armor penetration item ever. So I think that's pretty helpful. I haven't actually had a chance to try him out with the new Black Cleaver, but that could be a pretty viable build, helping you with that movement speed, getting through that armor of theirs, and then also just having a little bit of extra health, because he always seems to be missing a little bit. So if you're looking for a jungler to try out and you want somebody who is not a tank, you might want to try out Khazix. Those are the champions that are going to be free this week. Surprisingly, most of these champions I think are fairly cheap. A handful of these champions are older. Nobody really super new besides Braum, who isn't even super new anymore. But yeah, those are the champions that are free. Try out any of them. Let me know which 4 down below in the comments that you might play this week. I always like to know what you guys are playing. If there is a box around any of the champions portraits right now, that means you can click on it. It will take you to a build of some sort, whether it's a quick build or a full-length build and guide. So check them out. Other than that, good luck this week on the Fields of Justice.